Thank you. And that was a Finnish wedding waltz in March, and we did a waltz before that composed by my friend Pekka Pentikainen. That was a sorry I didn't warn you. Okay. And yeah, and thank you. It was the first, the first tune was Yanka Shotishi, as the second tune was Potpourri Waltz, and the last tune we just played was a wedding march called Hey Marcy Föglesta. We were in a Finnish mode just now. Yesterday was Norwegian Independence Day, so the recorder tunes now.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So we're going to give you a little flair of that. And hooray to Sitten Mai. This is a Rhinelander from Norway, so you can just hear the trolls and the gnomes and the tomtes dancing around in the forest or in the barn. The tradition was that you had to feed the tomtes to make everything work right. You had to keep the tomtes and the trolls happy. So you fed them porridge. Thank you. This is a Norwegian waltz called Arsundvalsen. Thank you.
My dear friends, a very, very heartfelt welcome to you. Please know your presence is a blessing, and my God, you have such power. You brought the sunshine. Oh, wonderful. Okay, oh, you're doing the lighting, Sally Joe? Okay. Well, maybe we can do a chant. Praising God, knowing that when we praise God, God doesn't become holy, we become holy. Allahu Allah. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Just the beloved women, please. One more time. Just the beloved men. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Once softly. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. Twice aloud. Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah, Allahu Allah. And becoming very still. And Sally Jo calling in the ancestors, I believe.
Vicky's going to do that.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Vicky.
Good morning. I wanted to read something written by a woman named Jennifer Reese, who is she's a yoga instructor. She has a retreat center. This is back in Massachusetts. But it's something beautiful she wrote about honoring our ancestors. We are part of a lineage, a stream of intention and creation whose fountain springs from our ancestors. Their lives have been lived and completed with a beginning, middle, end, and yet something of them lives within each of us. Their forces have had a hand in shaping us. It's a beautiful idea to see ourselves as a stream, as a lineage, and important to remember and honor those who came before us. We have, in fact, many lines of ancestors that we are connected to. The land, earth, and elements themselves, the lineage of all beings, the lineage of all humans, the lineage of your spiritual beliefs, the ancestors of the first people, the indigenous people of the land you are on, your specific bloodline and ancestry back to your homeland, and more. From time immemorial, people have honored their ancestors, connecting to their light. There are many beautiful cultural traditions that teach us as children and guide us so that we hopefully never forget and continue to remember that we stand on the shoulders of all those who came before us, and we can learn and create new traditions as adults. We do not need to know who our ancestors were, nor the story of their lives or the decisions they made. It might be difficult for us to understand them because we do not live in their context. Each time is so specific. Just think of how you would explain to someone from a different era what it was like to live in a global pandemic. When thinking of our ancestors, it is important to go beyond the stories of what happened, honoring that they may have had difficulties. However, what is more important to remember is their bright spirit and light. Perhaps imagine your ancestors as children, and imagine your ancestors as wise sages. Imagine and feel your ancestors' hearts as a live spring of love that flows to you and your descendants. And I also want to acknowledge that we are sitting on land belonging to the Coast Salish peoples, most specifically the Duwamish. This was not something they would have chosen to give up, But it happened, and the federal government still does not recognize the Duwamish. They have been working for a lot of years for that to happen. And if you're interested in finding out more, you can go to realrentduwamish.org, and there's a lot of information there. Thank you. I just did it. I just did the First Peoples. But
Do you do the ancestor, are you doing?
yeah, I just did both.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I think what's left is Divine Feminine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's going to be your chant. Yeah.
Okay. So after me, music from you. Okay, my friends. But I forgot one thing, to ring the bell. Okay, my friends, once you ring this bell, you know that you're glued to your seat. Our tradition. But you can go for what is called the sanctuary of release. Okay. We begin, you're glued to your seat. And besides ancestors and first peoples, am I on? Okay. Let's honor the divine feminine. In the Sufi tradition, which is mystical Islam, we start with honoring Mary, Mother Mary, who has an entire chapter in the Quran, chapter 19. So the words are, some of you know, Hazrati Bibi Maryam, that's Mary, Assalamu alaikum, peace and greetings be upon you. And she replies, and peace and greetings be upon you. The second one in the Islamic tradition is Asiya, the wife of the Pharaoh, because she rescued Moses from the waters. And the third one would be Khadija, the wife of the Prophet Muhammad, who was 15 years his senior in age. And he was married to her for 25 years till she died. Okay. Hazrati Bibi Maryam, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. And she replies, Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. Asiya. Hazrati Bibi Asiya. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. She replies, Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. Khadija. Hazrati Bibi Khadija. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. Let's also honor the divine masculine. We have Janet here from Florida, and I'm so sorry to hear her husband passed away. Give me the name of your husband. Bill. Okay. Hazrati Baba Bill. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. And Bill replies, Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam. And as Rumi says, just allow that to perfume your heart and just be with it for a few moments. After which our beloved musicians, Birgit and Phil, will provide some music.
This will be, we're in Scandinavian mode today because of the Independence Day celebration sitting in May. And the next tune will be a shotishi from Finland. Ilhan Enstein shotish means first, shadish, Ilhan's first.
Okay, my friend, let's once again go like this with these wonderful musicians.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll just give you them. Please thank you. Yeah, let's see. Okay, my dear friends, time for the sermon, as they say. So the topic is listening, which is good. You'll all be listening to me then. Just listen, yes. So I thought I would put it in a template of the Islamic 3 principles and 5 pillars. The first principle is Islam itself, which means to surrender in peace. So now, how does it relate to listening? You know, the Quran says, say, what has seduced you away from your most generous instructor? Another verse in the Quran says, please do not sell your bond with God for so paltry a price. Rumi, who used to read Quranic verses, then go into a trance, one of his verses, Rumi's poetry is, where will you find a customer like God, who pays in gold, who accepts your counterfeit coins, buys your shabby, dirty bag of goods, takes a few teardrops, and in return gives a spiritual spring so delicious that even sugar is jealous of its sweetness. Where will you find a customer like God, who pays in gold, who accepts your counterfeit coins, buys your dirty, shabby bag of goods, takes a few teardrops, and in return gives a spiritual spring so delicious that even sugar is jealous of its sweetness. The point here is, the mystics say, Brother Jamal, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, every year, you are making choices. Are you listening to the voice of your ego or the voice of your soul, your higher self? At every moment we are making a free will choice. So just be with that. The question is, who am I listening to at every single moment? And Prophet Muhammad said, that is why at every moment, by the choices you make, by who you're listening to, you're either ennobling your soul or you're diminishing your soul. It's a daily struggle. So just be with it for a few moments. Okay, that was the first principle. I'll move a little faster. The second one is Iman, meaning have faith. There's the visible world. There's also the invisible world. The mystics say there is traffic and trade in those invisible realms. There is traffic and trade. Therefore, and I'm quoting Rumi now, flee not the invisible world. Flee not the invisible world because it is a place of income. And this visible world is a place of expenditure. Another verse from the mystics. There is a voice that does not use words. Listen. There is a voice that does not use words. Listen. Back to Rumi. All the theologies of this world, all the theologies of the world are as nothing compared to one whisper of the beloved. All the theologies of this world are as nothing compared to one whisper of the beloved. There's one piece of poetry by Rumi I brought along. It's a bit long, but I want to read it to you. I noticed, not this one. It's about listening. And I forgot to bring my reading glasses, so I'll use my third eye. So I've got to open my glasses, read from my third eye. This is Rumi who says, make everything within you an ear, E-A-R, each atom of your being, and you will hear at every moment what the source is whispering to you, just to you and for you, without any need for my words or anybody else's words. We all are the beloved of the beloved. And in every moment, in every event of your life, the beloved is whispering exactly what you need to hear and know. Who can ever explain this miracle? It simply is. Listen, listen, and you'll discover it in every passing moment. Listen, please listen, and your whole life will become a conversation in thought and act between you and divinity, directly, wordlessly, now and always. Then Rumi ends by saying, it was to enjoy this conversation that you and I were created. It was to enjoy this conversation that you and I were created. So just be with that for a few moments. How does this, as the mystics say, splash in your heart? Okay, third one is ihsan's third principle. So in that case, to make it relevant to listening, how do you cultivate the art, the practice, the facility of really listening? One, of course, is silence. This is in every tradition. Just being in silence. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the absence of the little self. Then as the mystics say, silence is the language of God. Everything else is a poor translation. Just listen. Then to be practical, for me what works is self-talk. As you know, some of you know, I call myself Brother Jamal. I and Brother Jamal have constant conversations. So when I talk too much or I tend to interrupt somebody's conversation because I'm so anxious to express, I talk to myself, Brother Jamal, please, just listen, just listen, just listen. And that inner voice, Brother Jamal, just listen, really stops me and makes me listen. So I want to ask you, how do you cultivate this essential practice of listening? Any ideas you want to share with the group? What do you do to just listen? Besides self-talk, besides the practice of silence. I guess by your silence, you all practice silence, it seems. Any idea? Any? Yes. Okay.
Just mantric, la ilaha illallah.
Repeating a mantra. That's a beautiful one, repeating a mantra. And why would a mantra work? You know, I love that wonderful observation in India. For centuries in India, for festivals, they always include what? Elephants. It makes it royal. You have an elephant in the festival. But the problem with elephants is its trunk is always swaying back and forth, lashing at people, overturning carts of food. So one day, many centuries ago, the organizers said, let us go to the mountains and talk to these yogis. Do you have a technique to really help us overcome this lashing by the trunk of the elephant? And to their shock, to their astonishment, to their surprise, the yogis or the swamis or the people who meditate in the mountains, they said, yes, we know what to do. Really? What do you do? They said, take a stick of any size, put it in the trunk of the elephant. Of course, it curls it up and grabs the stick. Immediately, the swaying becomes less and less and less and less and less. How did you know this? We've been doing this with the minds of human beings for centuries. Give a mantra. In Islam, it's La ilaha illallah. Could be anything. I love you, Jesus, I love you, Om Mane Padme Hum, etc., etc. The moment you give a mantra and you repeat it again and again and again and again and again and again, that swaying of what is called the rattle of the cage of monkeys in the mind becomes less and less and less and less and less. So this is in every tradition, repeating a mantra. Then you begin to listen to that real voice. Call it higher self, call it divinity, call it God. So thank you, Wakil. Anybody else have a technique? Yes.
Being in nature.
Beautiful. Being in nature, and of course, Elizabeth is a Sufi. Hazrat Inayat Khan, that wonderful Sufi master, the one who brought, the first one to bring Islamic mysticism into America, he said, or in fact, was it him? Yeah, it was him. Or was it his father? I don't know. That the holiest of holy manuscripts is nature. Just being in nature absolutely quietens the mind, opens the heart, connects us to the womb of Mother Earth. And also, by the way, all the traditions say, which is what Hazrat Inayat Khan was emphasizing, anything you want to learn about life, any aspect of life, you can learn from nature. I love interfaith. I'm so sorry, by the way, they cut the trees. I don't know if you can see. The trees have been cut for the sake of progress there. But trees are a wonderful source of learning besides many other things. So the mystics say about religions, cultures, politics, the branches of the tree, they sway differently in the wind, but they're all connected at the root. It's all one. For me, one of my message, for all of our members of congregation, that, all religions are path to a shared universal. Why do we focus? Why do we get so stuck in what is called exclusivity? So my teachers gave me this metaphor from nature to meditate on. And what is a metaphor? All the rivers, they flow into the ocean. All the rivers, they flow into the ocean. Jamal, you might be following one river, a particular river, but don't mistake the river for the ocean. Just meditating on that in nature.
Oh, this is a new quickie one I heard from some talk on the radio, just to kind of get you started and calm down. And it's self-talk, but it says, breathe in, my love, breathe out, my love.
Say it again.
Breathe in, my love, breathe out, my love. So it includes such kindness.
Beautiful. So that's a wonderful form of meditation, to become very still. Breathe in, my love, and breathe out, my love. Is that what you mean, the meditation? Thank you. Beautiful. Let's see. By the way, you just graduated or are going to graduate?
Oh, I have like almost 3 weeks left.
Let's send her light and love. She's graduating in 3 weeks. This is University of Washington.
Yes, I think for me it's like art and music, making creative things.
Beautiful. Art and music. You know, I love that saying by Rumi that music is the sound of the spheres. And we have been part of this harmony before. And all this music, all this singing reminds us of the time when we were all one. Which reminds me, I don't want to go on a tangent, but this beautiful story of Rumi. You know, he was once doing zikr, which my brothers here do quite often, meaning chanting for remembrance of God. And in that group that they were chanting, and then some of them would get up and do a whirling dervish dance, which is not a performance, it's a prayer. A very conservative, you might say clenched Muslim was saying, "What is all this singing, 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 singing?" Rumi said, "Brother, singing is the sound of the creaking of the doors of paradise." He said, "I hate the sound of creaking." Rumi said, "That's because, brother, when you hear the sound of creaking for you, the doors are closing." Okay, I'm looking at the time. I better move on. So, I mentioned listening. I mentioned how can we cultivate the art of listening. Then in the 5 pillars, I'll summarize it. The question is now, is God listening to our prayers, to the cries of the oppressed? Gaza, Israel, Palestine, Ukraine, Russia, Sudan. Is God listening? What does God say in the Quran? "I listen to the prayer of every supplicant." But God says, "I request you," it's a request, that please also listen to me. There's another verse in the Quran that says, "We took you to a forking of the road," says the Quran in the verse, "and you came to a steep incline. But Jamal, you did not climb the steep incline. You did not climb the steep incline. You avoided it. You took the easy way out." And the Quran says, what can I tell you about the steep incline? It says many things about, being kind to people, helping the marginalized. But the number one is freeing a slave from bondage, oppression, cruelty, being, suffering under authorities. So that's one to focus on. Another one which I like is a story where this very pious person travels the world and sees so much of cruelty. And then breaks down saying, "God, you are God. Please do something. You are God. You're all powerful, all aware, all compassionate. Do something, God. I beg you, do something." And that night, God appears in a vision, if you remember the story. And God says, beloved one, I did do something. I created you. Meaning, Brother Jamal, what are you doing? Start in your own family, extended family, community. And Prophet Muhammad said, he gave advice when people said, "So what do we do?" And Prophet Muhammad said, listen to this. When you see injustice, you need to be of service. Use your hands, meaning get involved. Do something. If you cannot do that, then use your mouth. Speak up. Don't be silent. And if you still cannot do that, then yes, said Prophet Muhammad, pray from your heart. But he said, I will tell you one thing. In this instance, you might be avoiding or denying. In this case, it is a weak form of faith. Only you know. So just ask yourself, what am I doing to be of service? Does God listen to my prayers? Why is there so much suffering? The best answer is silence. I don't know. But take that to heart. Why doesn't God answer all my supplications? By the way, the Quran suggests when you make a supplication to God, God is listening, but do it with increased necessity, not just as a ritual, as an automatic, robotic way. Give it life. Give it some fervor. In mysticism, that's called increased necessity. Pray with increased necessity. So the universe really listens if you pray with increased necessity. If you remember that wonderful insight by Rumi, have you not noticed? Have you not noticed that only when a baby is born does the mother's chest become filled with milk? Because there is increased necessity. And the Quran says, yes, in many cases, when you pray to God with fervor, with increased necessity, God provides in ways you could never even imagine. God provides in ways you could never even imagine. By the way, Rumi reads this, and we think he goes into a trance with this particular verse. He says, yes, in times of affliction, God sends a stretcher from grace to pick you up. God doesn't answer some of our prayers because some mystics say, if you knew, this would be harmful for you, although you think it's the best for you. And this is particularly, by the way, they say, in relationships. If only I got together with this person, God, I want this person. You don't know that it could be the worst for you. Why are some of my other prayers not answered? There's a wonderful Sufi story. They say, Jamal, when you go over to the other side, God will tell you, Jamal, these were the prayers that you prayed so fervently, but they were not answered. So let me give you the rewards now in the afterlife. And the rewards are so magnificent, beautiful, so fantastic that I will say, oh my God, I wish none of my prayers were answered. Okay, just be with that for a few moments. And very quickly, the next one in the pillar is being of service. You know, true service is if I really listen to the one whose needs I'm fulfilling, who I'm willing to serve. That's why I love this story, you know, being a cleric, about converting other people. Think it's really big service I'm doing. And sometimes a very good, well-meaning people want to convert others to your point of view or to your religion or to your particular style of prayer. So that story, which has been drummed into me again and again and again to really focus on, so I move from a knowledge of the tongue to a knowledge of the heart. I hope some of you know it by heart. There was a sincere monkey who would go to neighborhood ponds or lakes. There was a sincere monkey who would go to neighborhood ponds or lakes to pluck the fish out of water to save it from a watery grave. Be with that story. You know, I've been asked to focus on that again and again, and I would say I understand it. And my parents would say, no, you don't understand it. It's a knowledge of the tongue. Can you move to a knowledge of the heart? So I'll repeat it. There was a sincere monkey who would go to neighborhood lakes or ponds to pluck the fish out of water to save it from a watery grave. In our community here, in Interfaith Community Sanctuary, of course, we're very eager, myself, Sally Jo, and all of you, that we listen to the needs of the congregants. So let me just mention one thing which I'm very eager to convey to you. The evolution of the Sunday services that we have here. It has evolved, and it's very important because when I travel, before pandemic, I used to travel with my Interfaith Amigos, you know, quite regularly, twice a month, different states. And a major question was asked, interfaith is wonderful, we believe in interfaith. But how do you do services? How do you do Sunday services or whatever they are? How do you do congregational service when people are of different religion, different cultures? What do you do? So this has been a question which has really been in our hearts and minds, and we've listened to many experts, authorities. I've been to different places, asked the same question. So we have developed, it has evolved, And this is what I would like you to know, because when people ask you, you can tell them. Because I'm asked, so what do you do in Interfaith Community Sanctuary? How do you manage services? So remember this. So what it has evolved into is this. The first Sunday of the month, we ask an outside speaker because we want to learn from them. So Maggie is here, for example. She's a Baha'i. We want to learn from the Baha'i faith, the Wiccan faith, the Jain faith. We want to learn. That's the first Sunday. Second Sunday is universal worship. Can we have some sort of worship where we honor different traditions? In the Sufi system of worship, there is what is called universal worship. You honor, you acknowledge, you honor all the different traditions. Third Sunday, I speak. Sufism, sometimes I tie in Eastern traditions. The way it's evolved, fourth Sunday, my colleague and co-minister Sally Jo, she speaks, but she primarily asks a member of the congregation to speak. She asks a member of the congregation because the belief, the understanding is that we are all teachers and students alike. And many Sunday worship services are failing because there's too much, they say, of this standing up here and preaching to you. We are all teachers and students alike. So Sally Jo, she asks a volunteer from the congregation and they become the minister on the fourth Sunday. Am I right, Sally Jo? Yeah. Fifth Sunday, I and Sally Jo work with the congregation, in the sense work meaning we have a program of worship service where we interact with one another. We form little groups and we discuss. Everybody becomes a preacher in that sense. So just remember that when people ask you, I'll be repeating this again and again, it's memorized because I must have been asked at least 300 times, how do you do worship services? Okay, I'll bring it to a close, just making 2 more points. The next one in the pillar is Ramadan, which would mean that in the context of listening, Brother Jamal, are you listening to your body? The needs of your body? What are you doing to take care of your physical body? It's a sacred temple. The Buddha, who was so busy every minute, doing preaching, helping, ministry, being of service. But even the Buddha every year, after he became enlightened, every year he would take 3 months off. It was a rainy season. From the 12 months, he would take 3 months off. That's called withdrawal and return. We are like, the mystics say, we are like fish out of water, thrashing and quivering. From time to time, we need to enter into those oceans of silence, relaxation. What are you doing to take care of your body? Okay, the mind. We repeat again and again in our classes what the Buddha said. We are what we think. Everything that we are arises with our thoughts. Speak and act with a beautiful thought and beautiful behavior, and happiness follows you like the wheel follows the oxen cart. Speak and act with terrible thoughts and action, and sorrow follows you like your shadow follows you. So can I be in an environment where the words are beautiful? That's why all the great masters say, don't gossip and don't listen to gossip. The Buddha says, when you indulge in gossip, he says, dwelling on your brother's or sister's faults multiplies your own. Dwelling on your brother's or sister's faults multiplies your own. And Rumi says, veil the faults of others so yours might be veiled. So keep away from gossip. And words matter. What you're listening to really matters. You know, they've done so many experiments with plants. We had trees out here. Unfortunately, they've been taken down in the interest of progress. But you know, they've done experiments with plants. If you curse a plant, you are ugly, you're terrible, you're no good, and make it hear the worst music, the loud music, it begins to die. But what if you tell the plant, you're beautiful, I love you, and play? They've tried with music, and they found classical music makes the plants flourish. So the mind, who are you associating with? What are you listening to? How are you nurturing the mind? How about the emotions, the feelings? All the mystics say the feelings, difficult feelings, for example, they're messengers. Are you listening to your difficult feeling? It's coming for a purpose, to make you more complete as a human being. All the mystics say, don't run towards difficult feelings, just don't run away from them. Which is why this practice called sacred holding, I have a difficult feeling, where do I feel it? Just be with it, and then ask it questions. This difficult feeling, with sincerity, with humility, do you have a message for me? I'm really listening. Do you have a message for me? And the next question we ask in this particular practice is, how may I love you? Because that difficult feeling, as Carl Jung would say, is begging to be kissed. It's coming up because it's begging to be kissed. And if I kiss it, meaning I acknowledge it, I heal it, I integrate it, I become a more, what Sufis call insane kamil, a more complete, developed human being. Why? Because my anger becomes transformed into a greater vigor, enthusiasm from within. My fear into greater mindfulness. My sadness into greater empathy. That's why the words of Carl Jung, which I repeat again and again, Carl Jung said, Brother Jamal, I don't think he said Brother Jamal, but he said, would you have the grace and the courage for once in your life to kiss the demons and dragons within you? That is how they turn into a prince or princess. So listen to your feelings. There's a message there. Kiss it. Integrate it. Then the next one is the soul. Am I listening to the needs of my soul to be more loving, more compassionate, more gracious, more generous, more forgiving? That feeds my soul. Okay, I'll end with one more. The need for community. Do I listen to my needs for community? We all need community. Even prophets sought companions. And all the great masters say, this is what community is based on. Do you have community? Do I have community? Ask yourself, who is it in my life I have who passes 3 gateways? Number 1 is there is love between me and that member who is a member of my community. What Rumi calls circle of love. There has to be love. Number 2, there has to be trust. Because without trust, there is no vulnerability. And without vulnerability, there is no real community. And the third one is, and the Buddha emphasized this particularly, love of truth. His famous words, find friends who love the truth. Love, trust, love of truth and living the truth. Who is it in my life who fulfills those gateways? That's my real community. And then listen to your community members. They're wise, they're precious, they love you, you trust them. They speak the truth, they live the truth, whatever that means. They're living their truth. Okay, I'll end with this insight again by the great masters that the real teaching, the real learning for all of us comes from really members of your community. You don't have to always go to experts and pundits or preachers. We're all teachers and students alike. Let's listen to one another and drink in what it really resonates and goes deep inside us as we listen with the heart. So the story I'll end with, the mullah story you've heard many times. The mullah by this time is a very famous preacher, so a very big mosque approaches him and says, will you please come and preach to our congregation? So mullah comes and says, do you know what I'm going to speak about today? And they all say, no, we have no idea. He says, oh, then he steps down saying, what's the point of me speaking? Because if you have no idea what I'm speaking, it's like planting seeds on a very stony ground. Nothing will grow. They beg him to come back. He comes back again. Now, do you know what I'm going to speak about? They all say, yes, 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 yes. He steps down again saying, what's the point of speaking? You already know what I'm going to speak about. He comes a third time. They beg him one last time. Do you know what I'm going to speak about today? This half says yes, this half says no. Mullah steps down again. The one who said yes, please tell the ones who said no what you know. The real teaching comes from people like you and me who are present right here. There's so much wisdom within each one of us, which is why they always say in all these famous workshops and conferences, do you know where the real teaching comes from? Not from the experts or gurus or authorities, but the conversation during lunch breaks or coffee and tea breaks. Okay. Let me listen to what all the great masters say. Jamal, be mindful of time. I'll be very quiet. Let's do a short meditation, a very short meditation. Sajid, can you open the door? It's getting very hot here, it seems. Yeah. Thank you. So just become very still. Focus on your nostril. And just be present with your breath as you inhale and as you exhale. And now focus on as you let go of the breath now, let go of the breath. Focus on the lowest part of the spine and make an intention. Intention equals action in the subtle realms. An intention to send a beautiful cord of divine light from the sacrum area going down, way down, deep, deep, deep into Mother Earth, connecting us to the womb of Mother Earth. Letting go of this now, focusing now on the crown of the head and making that intention to send a beautiful cord of divine light going upwards, way up, higher, higher, even higher, piercing those mysterious realms and connecting us to the heart of heaven. Feel that, please, that connection. Feeling perfectly poised between heaven and earth. And now letting go of that and focusing on the heart, which is the most mysterious organ. And now listen to this beautiful revelation that came to the Prophet Muhammad in a dream where God says to each one of us, beloved one, God says, I cannot be contained in the space of the earth. I cannot be contained in the space of the heavens, but I can be contained in the space of the pure, loving heart of my devotee. The space of the heart is actually infinite, boundless. The Quran says, to God belong the most beautiful names. When we praise God, God doesn't become holy, we become holy. If it works for you, for a few seconds, focusing on the heart, knowing that divine heart is inside human heart, the space of the heart is infinite, boundless, filled with the wellspring of eternal love, healing, empowerment, transformation. Focus on that space, and if you will, say, I love you. I really love you. Or you are loved. Whatever feels right, I love you. You are loved. Again and again and again. You can never overdo this. I love you. You are loved. Just a few more times. I love you. You are loved. A most beautiful vibration filled with blessings, healing, empowerment is going from the tongue into the mouth, into the throat, deep into the chest. Even deeper into the heart, even deeper into the hidden, and then even deeper into the hidden of the hidden, astonishingly loving us, blessing us, healing us, empowering us. Feeling grateful, if that comes to you, or feeling whatever you're feeling, but stop saying anything at all, just become very still. And let's chant Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. One more time. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Becoming very still. And I'll request my dear friends, Birgit and Phil, play music. And in the meantime, Sally Jo, mind just passing the plate while the music is being played?
Non-Scandinavian tune called Erev Ba from Israel.
So do you want to bless the money? Do you want to?
It's always a pleasure to receive the offerings from our congregants here today. Thank you so much for supporting our work here. And the people online, we thank you for going to our website and finding the donate button there. If you are so inclined to give, this would be a wonderful opportunity for you to also share. This is an all-volunteer community, and we do use the funds, of course, to keep up this beautiful historic building and all the programs that we do here. And so we do appreciate all the donations that people make and the donations of time and energy that people put into keeping this building in such beautiful condition, and the windows clean and the lights on and all the fixtures fixed and everything good that happens here in this beautiful space that has been up since 1898, right? 1890. 1890 this building was built.
Older than I am.
Yeah, so we want to keep it here strong and steady and with such a beautiful purpose. So thank you again.
And Sally Jo, she knows many verses from different holy books. She knows many verses of the Quran by heart. Can you repeat one and blow it into this? And many of you also, please send your prayers to this money collected here. May this be returned to you manyfold. And because of different prayers, please know you are multi-insured.
This is true. You know, your talk today reminded me, Jamal, that the art of listening does require a lot of patience. Patience to be able to be still, to be quiet, to trust that a message is coming to us. And there was a wonderful Catholic priest, Father Macmillan, whom I recently read a book about. He was called the Saint of Auschwitz. He was sent to Auschwitz, and he died in the German concentration camp as a Polish priest. The Poles were like arch enemies of the Germans at that time. And before he died, he was very well known in his life before he went to the camps and even in the camp. And he was called the priest who could listen so well to everyone. He could listen to what was said and what was not said. And I've been contemplating that myself with the whole art of listening. But in the Quran, there's a beautiful passage which I learned recently, which I will try here to relate to you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya ayyuha alladina amanu, asbiru, sabiru, attaku allaha, la'alakum tuflihuna. O you who believe, be patient, persevere in patience, keep your connection, and remain conscious of God so that you might attain felicity.
Thank you so much, Sally Jo. And she mentioned patience. I've just got to tell you the wonderful insight about patience from all traditions. I think it's summarized by a verse from Rumi who says, patience, particularly in times of adversity. That's real patience. So Rumi has this metaphor. He says, the patience shown by the rose to the thorn is what keeps it fragrant. The patience shown by the moon to the dark night is what keeps it radiant. So particularly in times of adversity. And one more point, I know this is not a sermon for me, but in therapy, people come and tell me, I really want to be patient, as we do some work on patience. But then when we come back, they say, after I left, this happened, that happened, that happened. It's like terrible bad luck and this and that. But here's the insight. If I make a commitment, oh God, please make me patient. Please, I beg for this divine virtue of patience. Guess what's going to happen when I leave this place right here? I will meet circumstances which gives me the opportunity to build my patience muscles. It's not bad luck. I asked for it. I prayed for it. Oh God, please make me more patient. How is it going to happen unless I build my muscles of patience? So just remember that, please. Okay, we're getting close to an end. Announcements. Yes, announcements, yeah.
So we do want to share some upcoming gatherings, and in the sanctuary here we have gatherings not just on Sunday morning, which we do every Sunday at 10 a.m., and Jamal was mentioning the fourth Sunday. Next Sunday we have presentations by two of our congregants who've been with us for a long, long time, and both of them are these two women, Judy Sanderman and Dr. Aisu Rahman, Jamal's sister, and Judy Sanderman right here. They are both founders and heads of organizations that we have been supporting as a community for many, many years. And we've helped launch many wonderful nonprofit organizations right here from our congregants here in Interfaith Community Sanctuary. And these are two projects that we are supporting actively. And they're going to be sharing how we use the art of listening as we engage in service with people on the other side of the globe from us, people from different cultures who speak different languages, who have very different needs than we may imagine they have, and that we may not even understand about their needs. How do we actually be of authentic service in these situations? And it'll be a wonderful opportunity for us to learn from our people on the ground how we manage this active listening. And if you're impatient to wait for that, come on downstairs after the service. We have a potluck lunch going on, and everybody is welcome, whether you brought something or not. Please come and join us downstairs and share with each other about whatever's on your mind. We have classes that go on and workshops and gatherings that go on every night of the week, and we have particularly a couple of special events. One, as I was talking about the projects we support, one of them is Project Ethiopia, and later this afternoon, or rather this evening, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock this evening, not here, but at the Boon Boona Coffee Shop in Renton, which is a lovely gathering place. They are closing the coffee shop and letting our organization gather for something we call Buzz and Brew. It's a celebration of International Day of the Bee, World Bee Day it's called. It's actually May 20th, but we're going to celebrate it this evening. And we're going to talk about the training for our 100 new female beekeepers in Ethiopia and all the supplies and wonderful training we're giving them to begin their beekeeping careers. As they're also farmers, of course, and beekeeping will be one of their activities. And so this is called Be the One, and we want you to come down and enjoy catered Ethiopian, authentic Ethiopian food, which is being offered free of service by an Ethiopian of a family who owns an Ethiopian restaurant here in Seattle, and we'll have a traditional Ethiopian coffee ceremony, and we'll have honey wine, and we'll have wonderful door prizes. This is all free. Please come and join us at Boon Boona Coffee Shop, and I've left some flyers out here and up here and back at the door if you'd like the address and so on. Also, I want to mention that I know that Steve Kramer has been talking about the Compassionate Action Conference that's happening May 14th. Oh, that's over. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't look at the date. We'll have to take that one out. Anyway, please go to our website to find more of our special events. We had a wonderful concert here Friday night. That's also over. I hate it when things are over, but there's always more to look forward to. And there is more that we can all participate in. Our Thursday meditation group, every Thursday right here in the sanctuary. We had a Course in Miracles. We have our Masnavi study groups. So check our website on and sign up for our weekly announcement. Every Monday, you'll get an email of the upcoming events for that week, both the special events and the regular events, and you can find them. Right, we had a big medicine circle, again, yesterday, all day yesterday. They were meeting and doing a healing ceremony downstairs and a potluck lunch. So we do have a lot of activities, and we like people to know about them because you never know what is going to speak to you specifically in each of your needs right now in our time. We need to be together in community. We need to be offering each other hope and power, empowerment, and we need to be listening to each other and hearing what is on our minds and how we can share and support each other. And there are many in this community who need support, special support. So this might be the time when we go into our prayer time. But before we do that, we'll probably end up saying goodbye to our live streamers, right? And we are very deeply grateful for your presence. And, it's hard to imagine. Last week, I was homesick, so I was on the live stream, and I felt this sense of connection here, but there's not a connection back again because I'm usually here in person. So let's take in mind the fact there are people watching us and joining us from a distance, some from other states, other parts of the world, other parts of the country, other parts of the city where they can't drive in. We are glad they're here with us, and we're very grateful to Bryce Rowe, Gretchen's son, who helps us with our live streaming activity and keeps it going. And we want to thank them for being here and for being part of our community. And we'll say goodbye to them now and bless them.
Sayonara.